It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we've got a beer from the Wild Beer Company, and this is a can of their Quantic. It's a session IPA coming in at 4.7% ABV in a 330 milliliter can. Picked this up in Waitrose. Now there's quite a few Waitrose or Wild Beer Company beers in Waitrose. They must have a really good relationship with Waitrose, do Wild Beer. Or the buyer just really likes Wild Beer Company. Without further ado, let's get the beer out into a glass and see what we get. Ooh. Little bit of a... I thought it was going to be a slightly crazy can opening there, but we should be able to throw this into the glass. Yep, there we go. See if it's can conditioned. See if there's any haziness that wants to make its way into the glass. The beer cost me £2, which I think is very reasonable for a 330 milliliter can. The description is citrus, fresh pine, easy drinking. Well, that's pretty good, isn't it? I like easy drinking. So we've got a slight haze. Good levels of carbonation. One finger white head. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Pretty good. Straw coloured, hazy. Let's get the aroma. Oh, that smells really piney. Comments in the comments box, by the way. The word Quantic. I'm pretty sure, no, actually it doesn't say it on the side or the back of the can what this actually means. Quantic. Comment in the comments box. What does the word Quantic mean? I've never heard it before. It's a new one for me. Really piney, really kind of like pine needles, which would suggest to me that it's like Centennial and Chinook. Maybe a bit of Cascade. The 3 C's of the hop world. Really piney, and lots of kind of orange peel going on, like you're biting with your molars on the back of your teeth. There's some orange peel. Let's dive into this one. Cheers, everybody. Ooh. I'm going to go again. Oh, there's a bit going on here. My palate has just adjusted to this, so I'm just going to go back in for a second taste before I talk about the beer. Very refreshing, very drinkable. Do you know, this is... It kind of reminds me of an American Pale Ale. If I had to choose a style, they've called it Session IPA. But it slightly reminds me of an American Pale Ale. And the reason for that is the pininess. The bitterness, that if it was a little bit more bitterness coming through, it would definitely be an American Pale Ale. But this is decent. This is really decent beer. To begin with, you're faced with these lovely light wafer biscuit flavours coming through from the malt that they've used in the beer. All of the malts that they've used in the beer are very light malts. You can see that by the look of the beer, the colour of the beer. Not a kind of dark malt in sight here. And what that does is that it gives a level of crispness, and it gives a chance for the hops to shine. It gives the it's almost like the hops have gone on stage, and the two spotlights have come down onto the hops. They're dancing on stage, you know, they're enjoying the moment, and the spotlights shining on the hops is that kind of light, crisp malt, because it's giving off a level of sweetness, a slight kind of wafer biscuitiness, as I mentioned earlier, but then it just gives way to the hops. And all of these New World beers, that's what the brewer wants to happen. Some brewers choose to treat their water. I highly advise that. You can tell when a beer's, the water's been treated for these session IPAs and these IPAs, because the hops really, really shine. Other brewers, they choose to use really light malts for their IPAs and their session IPAs, because they don't want any kind of like biscuity, any kind of like toffee flavours coming through, because it's taken away from the hops. Tangerine flavours in the middle, a little bit of grapefruit in the middle, a little bit of bitterness on the back end. Where would I drink this? What would I drink this with? Who would I drink this with? Well, this is one of those beers. On the weekend, I'm going to my friend's house in 2 days' time. I'll be going to my friend's house with the family. Mel will come with me. She'll chat with Clara. Me and Chris will kind of man up, and we'll go out, put our coats on, go out to the garden. He'll have a smoke. And we'll just sit there and catch up, really. He's got a very kind of high intense job at the moment, and I'm doing all my work in the garden, so we'll just kind of like shoot the breeze in the garden. And what better beer to kind of shoot the breeze with would be this type of beer here. This type of beer here that's just easy drinking, easy going, extremely tasty, and the secret is you can have 1, 2, 3 or 4 of these. It's really that good. It's a good starter beer. We could drink 2 or 3 of these, and then we might move on to something a bit stronger, and then we generally finish our session, because we have a session, we meet up for a session. We generally finish our session with a big boy, like some big bold imperial stout or something like that. But this would be a really good start, just to get the conversation going, you know. Do you know when you haven't seen somebody for a little while, and not to struggle to get I'm going to sneeze. Not to struggle to get the conversation going, but it's a lot easier after a beer or two, if that makes sense. .7% ABV. Hops all over the can. Yeah, really, Quantic. That's what I want in the comments box. What does the word Quantic mean? That's the one thing I don't kind of know. Wild Beer Company based in Bristol. They send their beers now all over Bagenalstown, Carlow. Actually, oh, that's their EU address. I was thinking, then where are they based now? I'm sure Wild Beer are based around the Bristol area. I've been to their brewery. Great beers, great stuff. Yeah, let's rate it. Quantic Session IPA from Wild Beer Company. Refreshing, drinkable. Could I drink another? Yes. Could I drink a third? Yes. That means I'm generally a happy drinker. I like this beer enough to give it, I give that an 8 out of 10. It's an 8 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom! Cheers!